So, you've probably heard the news. India just unveiled its first ever indigenous microprocessor, the Vikram 32. And yeah, that's a huge deal. But the real story here isn't just about this one chip. It's about a super high stakes global race, and what this moment tells us about India's ambition to completely reshape it.
Right. So this is the big question, isn't it? Now that India is making its own microprocessors, are we about to see a made in India chip inside the next iPhone or Android flagship?
Well, the short answer is no, not even close, actually. Let me put this into perspective for you. The Vikram 32 is built on a 180 nanometer process. The chip in your phone, it's probably down at 3 nanometers. That's not just a gap, that's a technological canyon. They're literally built for completely different worlds. Okay, so if this thing isn't going into our phones, what's the deal? What is the Vikram 32 actually for? Well, its real mission is far from your pocket and a whole lot closer to the stars. You know, when you first look at the specs, 100 megahertz clock speed, that sounds ridiculously slow, right? But see, this chip isn't playing the speed game. It's playing the survival game. It's designed to handle the intense radiation and crazy temperatures of space. That makes it perfect for mission-critical jobs in rockets and satellites, where failure is just not an option. All right, so it's a super tough, specialized chip for space. That's cool, for sure, but why is this one single chip making such huge headlines? Why is everyone calling it this landmark achievement?
Well, the answer is this story was never really just about one chip. It's about who gets to control what has become, without a doubt, the most critical resource of the 21st century. People call semiconductors the new oil, and honestly, that's not an exaggeration.
Just think about your day for a second. The smartphone that wakes you up, the car that gets you to work, the computers we're all staring at, even the medical devices that save lives, all of it. Absolutely all of it runs on these tiny silicon brains. If you take them away, the modern world just grinds to a halt.
You know, there's a really simple way to frame this, and it's perfect. They are as crucial to modern life as oil and electricity. And once that clicks, once you really get that, you start to see the massive geopolitical game being played here.
And that brings us smack dab into the middle of the global chip race. We're talking about a super intense, high-stakes competition to control this technology. So let's look at the players. Who's actually in control right now? So when it comes to the actual manufacturing, the making of the chips, one place just dominates the landscape: Taiwan. We're talking over 60% of the entire global market. But get this, if you look at just the most advanced chips, the brains behind AI, supercomputers, all that stuff, that number jumps to over 90%. That is a mind-boggling amount of power concentrated in one single place. But the supply chain is really complex. A good way to think about it is like this. The USA, they're the architects. They're home to the design powerhouses like NVIDIA and Intel. Taiwan, they're the master builder, the world's go-to factory. And all this time, you've got China pouring literally billions of dollars into trying to build its own thing from the ground up. So where does India fit into this whole picture? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. See, India is already a legitimate superpower when it comes to chip design. Nearly a fifth of the world's chip designers are based there. The big glaring gap has always been on the manufacturing side, actually making the physical silicon. And that gap leads us directly to India's strategy. They know they're a bit late to the manufacturing party, so they're not trying to just barge in and challenge the big players head on. No, their playbook is much smarter. It's all about partnership and collaboration. And it's a really clear 3-step plan. Step 1, use massive financial incentives to get the global giants in the door. Step 2, partner up with the current leaders, like the US and Taiwan, to get that crucial technology and know-how transferred over. And then step 3, use that foundation to build a complete end-to-end ecosystem right there at home. And look, when I say massive incentives, I am not kidding. The Indian government is offering to pay for up to half of the entire project cost for any company that wants to set up shop. Building these plants costs billions upon billions of dollars, so this is an incredibly bold move. It's basically them shouting to the world, we are serious about this. And you know what? It's already working. You've got the American giant Micron setting up a huge assembly and testing facility. And maybe even bigger, India's own Tata Group is partnering with Taiwan's Powerchip to build the country's first major chip fabrication plant, a fab, as they call it. So all of these pieces are moving, and it's pretty clear India is playing the long game here. This is a marathon, not a sprint. But what's the end goal? What are they really trying to achieve? Is it about taking over from China or Taiwan?
And this is where we see the real goal. The objective here isn't to dominate everybody else, it's about creating resilience for the entire system. India's big ambition is to become a vital, reliable partner in that global supply chain, making the whole thing stronger and way less dependent on just one or two hotspots. And the only way you can really do that, the only way to become that kind of partner, is to become what's known as a full-stack semiconductor nation. And that just means building out the whole shebang, from the initial idea and design of a chip, all the way to making it, packaging it, and testing it. Which leaves us with one final and pretty fascinating question. When you look at everything, their huge pool of design talent, their smart partnership strategy, and the massive government money behind it all, is India setting itself up to become the world's next indispensable technology partner? I guess only time will tell.